Hello, welcome to the Evil Pig Month in Review for February 2019. I am Jonathan Moore, the lead game designer.
I'm Megan Slade, the lead artist and animator.
I'm Natalie Thompson, the lead programmer.
Okay. I was wondering if you're gonna do the whole spiel of programmer, graphic designer.
I mean, I thought about it, and then I was like, nah, I'll just say programmer, because I didn't want to do the whole thing.
So we'll go ahead and just start off with general updates. One big one is that we have business cards finally, and we'll be handing that out to people. Finally.
Yay!
Yay!
It's taken a while for that to actually go into effect. Another thing is that Primastar will be released soon, hardcover. Once again, we ran into some issues with our publisher because there were a whole lot of, apparently they were syncing up their cloud, and they had to move a whole bunch of files, and our file was lost in that move, so I just had to constantly re-upload the file until they got it, and that was fun.
I mean, at least we still had the file, and it's not like we just put all our
Yeah.
eggs in one basket. Like, here's the file now, we're gonna delete it.
Oh, that would be a horrible idea.
That would be awful. I can't imagine.
Lose all of that.
Another thing with Primastar is that we will be doing a subreddit, more than likely, and we'll be posting. Really, I'll just be on there to answer any questions, and I'm pretty sure Natalie and Megan will also be on there. And if they decide to say they don't want to be on there, I'll just make it so that they're on there anyways.
I don't have a Reddit or anything.
Me
I don't
either.
go on there usually.
You can just.
I only go on there for League of Legends things.
I only go on there for when I need information about certain things.
Well, now you'll be on there to give information about Primastar. We'll talk about it.
We'll figure it out.
But that is one thing that I'm actually excited for. I feel like Primastar needs a more community outlook. We need to actually stick together and talk more about it. And it's a new game, so it's not D&D. I talked about that on our Twitter and Facebook. It is definitely not D&D. It's shared some resemblances to D&D, but Primastar is a completely new mechanical game system.
Yeah, we were playing some, and yeah, it's not like D&D. We're just like in our D&D mindset, and we're just like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this isn't D&D.
So I'm having to reevaluate my life with Primastar and redo a whole lot of stuff with a session that I'm running for them, which will probably be recorded in the future.
Yeah.
Probably a
And-
good thing you figured that out before releasing any modules.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's good.
Yeah, so we'll be messing with that. I'll be looking more into it. Normal things that a game designer does after the fact. I
Are we-
guess.
The module that we're thinking about, were we going to do it with the next book, too? Were we going to release them at the same time?
More than likely, we'll release the module at the same time.
Okay.
Because we need to make some adventure module.
I'm trying to be vague because I don't know what you want people to know.
Thank you.
You're
for that.
welcome.
That's everything for Primastar updates. For other initial company updates, I know that we have a specific plan that we want to try and go with for 2019, and that involves a whole lot of steps. One of which is to, of course, gain a bigger social media presence, and that kind of ties back to Primastar getting a subreddit.
Mm-hmm.
Another one would be, we were mentioning not even talking about this before the podcast or before the month in review, but I'll go ahead and say it. We were thinking about doing merch as well.
We're thinking some easy merch would be taking the digital posters and making them into actual posters that
Yeah.
people can get.
Yeah,
If
which
we
shouldn't
want to.
be too difficult, I'm hoping.
We just have to look into printing companies and things like that.
Yeah.
Other merch would involve t-shirts and
Just clothes, I
yeah,
guess.
just clothes. I know that there was one guy who was talking about how he wanted to get a sticker or some
stickers would be
magnets and
cool.
everything.
Especially of the cats or Feline Frontier. You can put
Well, he actually wanted one with a logo. He thought the logo
Oh,
was
the
pretty
logo
cool.
would
In
be
fact,
cool,
he
too.
is one of our supporters on Patreon. Thank you, Michael Martinez.
I think
stickers and little pins would
Yeah.
be cool. And Yeah.
I think stickers of like the pixel cats would be kind of cute.
I do too.
That would be pretty cute. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like that.
Coloring book. No, I'm kidding.
coloring book.
I probably won't go
Coloring
there, but it'd be cool with the stickers.
The coloring book might be too much.
Oh my
I know. Just take the digital posters, get rid of all the coloring.
I don't know about that. That would require me to basically have to redraw. Well, maybe not redraw a bunch of stuff,
It would
but
just
it
be
was,
line art.
yeah. And I think I still have the working files for that where I could just get rid of the colors and everything. But yeah,
We're
if I
not.
didn't though, I'd have to like trace everything, and that'd be annoying.
We're just brainstorming here. Don't expect stuff right now.
Yeah, don't expect a coloring book.
I don't think we should do a coloring book. To be
I'd
honest.
only want to do it if we like were advertising to little kids, like
Yeah.
with the stickers and the coloring book. I think that'd be cute for little
I mean,
kids.
stickers are for every age. Excuse you, Natalie.
Well, yeah, maybe.
All
Put
right.
magnets. Okay, sorry.
So that's it for the initial company updates. Did you guys have anything that you want to talk about that you've been working on? I know that I've been working on the putting in, I guess, what would it be called? Environmental
Yeah,
elements.
we finally got me and Jonathan connected through Git, so that he can actually add things to the environment and I can get it on my end too. And yeah, so that's really cool.
We're actually, I guess, mingling with each other now through our program, so we're actually able to work together and get Feline Frontier done quicker, I'm guessing. Hopefully
Yes.
it'll be quicker.
Because I'm focusing a lot on the programming parts and what I have to write, but I really need someone to go in and do all the background elements and the art, put in the art stuff that it takes a lot of time to do, and
It's tedious.
yeah, it's tedious.
Yeah, there's more important things that Natalie can be working on.
Jonathan gets lumped with all the tedious stuff. I had him do the cat sprite sheets, and now he's getting this.
Wherever I can help. Excellent quality, guys. Let's keep it up.
I mean, we have done stuff. I'm just trying to remember what I've already told you guys we've done. I think the last time we left off, I couldn't figure out a problem with the background.
Yes.
I fixed it.
Immediately after that
After
podcast was done, we looked at it and it was fixed.
And I the way Natalie described the problem, I was like, that sounds familiar. It sounds like a Skybox issue, and I experienced that in a different game. And it wasn't a bad game. It was just, for some reason, this one area, I guess they forgot to put a skybox in, and so whenever the camera would turn, you would look outside, everything would be repeating, like, the walls would, like, repeat from the windows, and it was, like, really trippy looking. And so I asked Natalie to open it up and show me, and I'm just like, make the skybox bigger, make it bigger, and make it go towards the ground more. And then that happened once she jumped, it didn't, like, repeat a bunch.
Yeah, I didn't notice it because the ground, like, the skybox didn't reach all the way to the end of the camera, but the ground was in the way, in the foreground, so, like, you couldn't tell that without turning off the foreground.
But that's fixed now.
Yeah, it was really easy fix. You just had to make it bigger.
Yeah. I was like, why is it only in this one area? But I worked a lot on the title screen. I got the fade-ins to actually work. I think I turned them into images and then I turned them back into text because I realized they didn't need to be images. I went back and forth a lot on that, but I got a fade-in thing going out. I got a delay, and I put in music in the scene. So, and it goes with the music now. And
Yeah.
yeah, all the buttons work except the load button. So,
So
It's,
when you click like new game, does it actually take you into the game?
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It takes you to the character select screen.
It of course skips the cutscene that'll be in the beginning, but we will.
Yeah, we don't
that.
have cutscenes yet.
Yeah.
But then it goes into the character select screen, which we added a lot. There wasn't actually anything in the game design document about the character select screen, so we've been going over that and fleshing it out.
Yeah, it was a little slip of the mind there.
Well, Jonathan, I think did describe the character select screen to me, and I couldn't remember it. And while he was gone, I just kind of started working on it, and I just was like, well, they're in the ship, and I'm just gonna put some stuff in there, like there's a chair that they sit on, whatever. And then later, Jonathan finally responded and told me that they're supposed to be on treadmills. And I was just like,
Well, that's what we talked about that
Yeah.
one time.
I was just
I actually like it like this. So right now you get to be in their room pretty much, and when you change rooms, you change characters, and whoever's room you start out in, you get to go into the game as that character. And it's like the rooms are set up so if you run around, it's like you're running in a circle of the ship, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
yeah, I had them tile basically, and I originally set it up so like the rooms are all identical. Well, I mean, they're still pretty much identical, and just the bottom part of the chair was like there's like a little pad thing on the bottom with like paw prints, and then there'd be like a color, whichever color the cat was. And I was like, okay, that's good enough. And then I showed it to, well, before Jonathan came over, I told Natalie, I'm like, watch, Jonathan's going to tell me to put stuff specific for the cats in the background. And I don't want to do that. And then, of course, I showed it to Jonathan. I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, I really like it. We should add something in the background for the characters. And I was like, oh, no.
They're starting to make running bets.
I kind of like the idea though, because now when you're walking around the room to get a sense of how the character is, we're thinking about when they look at their thing, like they'll say something, about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'll be making all of the dialogue for.
Yep. Well, yeah, I thought that was funny. I was like, watch, he's gonna want that, and then of course he does, and then so I put
It
in.
fleshes out the character.
Yeah, I put in like 2 things for each character in their little like around their chair for them. I think my favorite was Lucy. She's got a lot of food.
Yeah, Lucy is the one that likes to eat the most. Which is... It's interesting because Callie in there likes to go and find new creatures and learn how to cook them properly.
I feel like that's a bad thing to think like, oh, we're going on this alien planet. Let's eat some of the things on there. I
But some people think like that though.
feel like that's dangerous though.
It is.
Someone's gotta try it.
Yeah, how do you think food was made in the first place?
True. Someone had to try it.
Gosh. Let's see. So last time for the podcast, I talked about how I was working on Angler's Spirit and how I was going to have to change the idle animation and the leg, like, because the front legs, I had to change the front legs because the walk animation wasn't looking how I was imagining it, so I had to change them. So I had to change the idle animation, which was actually pretty easy. And then I made the walking animation, which I really like. And then I went back to Lizork. I worked on some fighting animations for him where he does this bite animation and then a ram where I made a run animation, so he's got a run and walk animation, and then he rams. So, and then after that, I started working on Angler's / animation, and that's kind of where I stopped to work on character stuff for Natalie, because I'm like, that stuff's more important. And so I'm probably gonna slow down a lot more on the boss animations and work on stuff that Natalie needs.
Yeah.
That was in the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I fixed all the cat sprite sheets because like even though Jonathan worked on them, there was some stuff that even I messed up on. I had to go back, like there's some missing pixel or miscolored pixels, floating pixels that I had to fix up. So those should be all fixed. That took a long time. I had to go through like each sprite animation and like double check everything on each cat sheet. And then I started the Hydro Suit sprite sheet, which I can't just recolor like all the other cats because they have different designs on them. So I've been going through pretty much like recoloring, pretty much like repainting, and then copy and pasting, moving on to like different sprites, and it's a lot harder. It's like when I first colored the first sprite sheet. That's what it's like.
Yeah, it's back to the in-depth process.
Mm-hmm. And I was hoping to finish that today, but I got through I'm done with pretty much everything except for some 2 rows of jumping animations, the death animation, and then the cheer animation. And then I'm going to have to go back and remove all the tails for the Hydro suit for George. And then I'm going to have to start on the Vulcan suit. and the process can be all over again.
I didn't even I didn't even think about that. I was like, I had this idea for how I was gonna code the suits in, but then you mentioned him not having a tail, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to include that.
Yep.
The only cat that you can tell who you're playing as.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Hydro suit and the Vulcan suit, they just cover up the head completely so you can't see the cat that underneath it. So that's easier, at least. I don't have to make, 6 sprite sheets for each one. Just 2.
Mm-hmm.
That is nice.
Yeah, we've been focusing on just getting the stuff that Natalie needs in the very beginning so that we can push out the, I guess, just beginning look at the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Every cat now has an idle right and left animation, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Don't ask for anything else. Not yet. I think that, isn't Tom fully?
Yeah, Tom's pretty much fully, he doesn't... I haven't really programmed in, a death animation yet, because we don't have the health actually active.
That would
but-
have the health or enemies actually damaging you or anything like
Yeah,
that.
there's no damage yet, but, I mean, there is a health bar in the game, and there are some enemies in the game. They just don't do damage yet. They don't
They just sort
interact.
of sit there
Yeah.
menacingly.
Well, once Jonathan gets done with all the tiling, is he going to do the enemy placement?
Yeah, he could do that.
Yeah, I could do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just going throughout each one and showing this enemy goes here, this enemy goes here,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, I could just put them in.
I can go in and make the animation so you have them to put in.
Oh, dang.
What if you put them on a tile map?
No, we can't do that.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering. Speaking of which, speaking of the tile map, there is one object that I don't have on there.
Which one?
The vent.
Oh, do you need it on the tile map?
I would need to be able to place it
We don't even have the vent in the
in the game. I
in the
know.
assets, do we?
No.
Oh, you're just gonna need to put it in the assets then.
Mm-hmm.
And then, how many vents are usually in a scene?
It depends on the area.
Because I know the doors aren't tile maps either.
Yeah.
So you could just put them in, the doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the area. The first area only has one vent, and then
Because it's going to take you different areas like the doors are, right?
No, the vents don't take you anywhere.
Oh, they don't? Oh, it just puts enemies out?
Yeah, the vents just spawn enemies.
Oh, okay.
I was so confused what you guys were talking about. I was like, vents? I just thought of aesthetic things that you just stick on walls. I'm just like, okay.
No. I probably need to redesign the vents, honestly, because right now I think they look like gray warp pipes from Mario.
What else you can do is you could put the outlines on the door, the colors. Because I've already forgotten what colors you told me to put where.
Okay. Do you have the asset for the doors?
I am not sure.
Hmm.
I know the doors are in there, just I don't know about the colors for
Yeah,
the doors.
the actual door part, not the passageway part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Okay. We'll look at that then.
Yeah.
So I got that on my plate now.
Are those going to have animations, that part, when you hit it?
The doors?
Yeah, like the doors. Does it animate,
Mhm.
dissolving up or something?
Yeah, I showed you that.
Do we have that animation?
I made that animation.
Do we have the sprite sheet for it?
I
Jonathan
do
didn't
not.
make any sprite sheets.
We need a sprite sheet for that.
I will give Megan the files.
Okay.
Alright.
Hey now, I did all the work on anime.
Okay.
That should be easy to put in a spreadsheet anyways. There's only, I think... Because I even edited it... I made it so that it had a right, left, up, and down.
Mhm.
So technically, would we only need one, and then we would just be able to
Yeah, I
flip
could
it?
just flip it.
Yeah. But there are several versions. That is one thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to think about how many. There would be the blaster.
Different colors, right?
Yeah, the blaster, the phaser, free shot, missile.
I think what I'm gonna work on next is getting the shooting done. That way I can we could put the doors on there, and then when you shoot the door, it'll all work
And
as
we can
intended.
actually, we'll actually have all of the main points of the game active.
Except for
Oh,
the
the
health.
health, yeah.
Well, I mean, the main points of the game: run, jump, and shoot.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
Those are the 3 main points.
You have to do all the shooting directions too.
Yeah, I know.
And
Eh.
up the diagonal, then
Hey,
the
now, guys,
diagonal
let's just
down.
focus on run, jump,
down.
and shoot.
That animate him jumping and shooting.
That is part of run, jump, and shoot. So yes.
Gonna have to set up the shooting thing so when he's at a different facing thing, because when he faces a different way,
I think it's just gonna be putting a point on him and then putting a point where the gun is, and it's gonna have to know when it flips and things like
well,
that.
when he flips, sometimes the point changes. Like when the gun is pointing up, it changes.
Well, yeah, I
It's not
know.
the same spot. Okay.
And it would just tell it, like, whenever you hit an animation, that animation would correlate with where the dot is, probably, that I'm going to put on his gun, and that would indicate where the bullet is coming out of. That's what I'm thinking. So,
All right. As long as you can do that.
yeah.
Then
yeah, I
there'll be
can.
the whole thing of also charge shots. They'll have to work through as well.
And that's later, right? Or-
That's later.
Okay.
I mean, that'll be.
Well, I'm going to worry about the
like
basic shooting first.
yeah, like I said, right now, let's just focus on run, jump, shoot. That's all we need right now. And then we can add on all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, I keep getting, like, lost in upgrades. Like, the 2 suits, I'm like, those are kind of upgrade rooms, but, like, it'd be nice to put them in the character select screen anyway right now. And I'm like, I hate getting lost in the upgrades.
Let's just focus on run, jump, shoot. Don't worry about anything else right now. Let's get the 3 main points and then start to add on bells and whistles after. That'll be the main thing. I'm trying to think about what else I have done. Feline Frontier. I think the only real thing that I have done I've already talked about, and that was adding in the background elements.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And
think
some
you
scenes.
finished the sprite sheets, then I went over it and like fixed
Redid them.
everything.
Yeah. I know that there are some background elements that I feel like need to be messed with a little bit. They still have the like little
Oh, yeah.
particles that are on them.
The
You could just-
floating pixels.
Yeah.
See, I was afraid that I'd open them up in Photoshop. And this is the reason I didn't do it, because I noticed it right after putting everything in, pretty much. I'd open them up in Photoshop, I'd fix them, and I was afraid it wouldn't update, and then I'd have to replace all the tile maps.
Pretty sure that won't happen, because I
Okay.
believe whenever I was working on it before with the old programmer, I had to go in and change a lot of the tiles, and immediately after I did that, it just changed everything in the game.
Okay.
I just know you made those not in Photoshop.
Well, it's fun. I know Photoshop works. Like, it does do that with most things. Like, if you update it, I'm just not sure how it really relates with the tile map, because I haven't done it with the tile map specifically. Like, because it recreates all those. When you add it into a tile map format, it goes into a different folder with the same name, and it's now called a tile map, and I'm not sure how connected they are.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay then. It shouldn't be too difficult though. I
Yeah.
can work on that. I can go through and edit all the.
I think it's
Floating
only a
pixels.
couple squares that actually have the floating pixels, though. Like, I think they're just repeated a lot in the scene.
there's
Yeah.
a whole lot of repeats. I try to make it so it doesn't look like it repeats that often at all though.
hmm
Just adding a whole bunch of foreground, background, and then piling background objects on top of each other to make it look different everywhere you go. The only thing where you'll see it repeat a whole bunch is, of course, the base tiles.
Yeah,
You can't
which
really
is
change
fine.
that. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's expecting a pixel game to have every scene unique, like all the tiles. That would just look weird. Like, not even real life is like that.
I guess you're right. Anything else that you guys wanted to mention?
I did Shelk's background. I
You
did
did
that
do
for
that.
I did that for the speed paint this month.
Yeah, and that's released on Patreon.
Yeah. I did the Shelk's speed paint, and then like the day after I did the poster, and then I like put him in the background that I made, and Jonathan was telling me that with Shelk I was gonna have to, because he was looking at the design that I made like a long time ago, and he told me to put stuff on his arms so he looks like it's not, like
It's supposed
like a
to,
weak spot or
because
something.
before it was all fleshy looking, and the only way to damage Shulk specifically is to hit him while his head is out. So to make it look like his legs are all fleshy looking would mean you would think I could hit his legs and it would damage him. But that's not what you can do. So I wanted to make it more, I guess, apparent to the player while they're actually playing the game.
So I haven't fixed that in like his sprite yet, but in the digital poster I gave him like plating on his front legs. I was thinking about just giving him turtle shells on his front legs, and I was like, no, that looks stupid.
I remember you saying that, and I was like, what are you talking about? His legs are turtles now.
He is made up of 15 different turtles.
15 turtles in a trench coat.
Yeah.
When you hit his head, the top turtle just falls off, and you have to beat the rest of them.
Every single time you hit them, a new turtle falls off, and it's like a new enemy that comes towards you.
Oh my gosh.
That was actually an enemy in one of the Castlevania games.
Oh, really?
I think it was called Legion or Flesh Ball. It might have just been called Flesh Ball.
Ball.
But you would damage it, and a new body would fall off, and it would be an enemy that would go in and chase
Dang,
you.
why don't we have an enemy like that?
That would make no sense for a game, first of all.
Just have a
I
bunch
don't
of
know, the turtle enemy
urchigs.
made sense.
A bunch of urchigs attached to each other.
Guys, we're going to be releasing Feline Frontier 2. That or releasing a secret boss. I did not think about just a pile of urchigs. You can't even beat urchigs in the game.
Exactly. It'll be the hardest boss.
Just put it in a secret room, and if people go in there, they're screwed.
Done.
The dead room. You're done.
You still can't beat them, but if you shoot it enough, they'll fall apart and be harder to escape.
You think you can beat it, but you can't.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that it looks like... Oh, so it's just a ball of urchigs that comes to attack you, and then the player thinks, you know what, it's a boss, I can defeat it, and then they shoot it, but then it turns out it just turns into regular urchigs, which they can't beat, and then they just basically... They play themselves.
Yes. But no, that's not included in the game, don't worry.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys, I'll put it in there.
Our game will be beatable.
It'll be a secret. You'll find it, don't worry.
It'll be in an air vent.
Go into every single air vent that you can find. You can't go into any of them,
Yeah.
but there's gonna be one. Yes. I believe in you. You'll find
Now
it.
I feel like we have to put it in the game.
It's an Easter egg.
Yeah.
My
Only
God.
the people on Patreon will know about it.
Well, I mean, we'll be releasing this podcast to the public after a month.
Oh, yeah.
Unless we decide this is the only podcast that we don't release.
No, we'll release it. I guess.
Then everyone can know this secret.
The podcast is just going to be called Podcast, for February. Secret Boss? Question mark, question mark.
We'll have, like, little circles on the podcast with, like, arrows.
Arrows, red circles on the podcast with arrows. And
We're gonna get complaints if the game comes out and we forgot about this podcast. It's not in the game.
Well, anytime that someone says, it's not in the game, we'll just say, it's like, really? I thought that we put it in there. I'm pretty sure it's in there.
yeah, you're just not looking hard enough.
Yeah, go ahead and look harder, because it's definitely in there.
And we'll put the actual, I'll make a sprite sheet, but we won't actually program it in there.
Right, we'll put all the assets in
and
there
then,
so if you look.
It'll be all like fake code and everything. It's like, well, this line of code signifies that there's something else going on.
There we
Oh,
go.
man.
The mystery.
Well, see, now we just revealed to all the theorists out there.
Well, we could edit it out. This part doesn't have to be in the podcast.
It definitely has to be in the podcast. But of course, to them, what if we're actually just joking, or it's actually going to be in there? I mean,
Who knows? Do you know? We don't.
contact us.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Oh my gosh. Okay then. So
I can't wait till we can show you guys the actual gameplay. It looks so pretty. All Megan's art is so pretty. So
it's phenomenal. hopefully, we were talking about that being next month, but I'm still.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna try.
I like how right after I said next month, Natalie made this face. If only you guys could see the faces we make. It eliminates so much of the podcast because you can't. One of these days we'll have a camera. Maybe.
I mean, if I get this shooting, well, I mean, you don't necessarily need to actually have any health
Natalie,
interaction.
Yes. Don't necessarily. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Health is part
for
of
the
bells and
recording
whistles.
part.
Yes. For the recording part,
So
all
maybe
we'll
we could
probably
at least show like the title screen and the character select screen and like the planet surface and going through the doors and the
Yeah.
shooting.
Let's try and do the first cutscene. Let's try and get that done.
Megan's excitement is gone.
My face
No, I would-
just-
again with the facial expressions. If there was a camera, you could capture the moment Megan's soul left her body. That was where I said that.
I mean, I was thinking about how the cutscene's gonna happen, and I don't know.
I'm still unsure about it too, with programming it in, but I'm gonna figure it out.
I'm probably going to do a storyboard for you, Megan, with the cutscenes.
Okay.
Cause are we gonna use the environment that's in the game, like where the ship is, and I'm
I
just
think
gonna
it's
do
just gonna be
animations into
a
the
technical
scene?
animation thing on that part, because unless I'm gonna animate a whole scene,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be reusing like walking animations and stuff, and so it'd be like a technical animation thing. So it's like, I don't if I had a program, if Natalie gave me a program where I could animate the scene, then I would do that. But otherwise,
It'll just all be technical animation. It's not going to use assets in the actual game.
the only thing that might be is like, I don't know, we can have a launch animation for the ship.
So yeah, I'm gonna have.
Yes.
Okay, that
I'm just gonna
Well,
have to
even
do
then.
some research for it because why we need all the sprite sheets is because you can't actually put animations into Unity.
Another thing that we would do with the opening cutscene is because there is a part before the opening cutscene where you play as the characters on the main planet walking to the shuttle, and it's in a little like walkway.
Wait, what? Repeat that?
So before the first cutscene of the game
Okay.
that actually opens up everything, you will be playing as each character as they walk from the building. I don't know if we're
Oh,
actually
like
gonna
before their ship goes off?
Mhm.
Okay, so
You're
that'd
walking
be
through the walkway into the ship, and each character that you play as, they say something new, as if they're mentioning like.
so that would
their-
probably be before the character select screen, like when you first go into
Yeah.
the game.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
And you do that after all of them walk over. Then it plays the first cutscene of the shuttle launching off, and then that eventually goes into the pod that all the characters are in, and it shows them sitting down. Tom, of course, piloting, and the other cats sort of just sitting there, dealing with their stuff, their own individual things, and Tom talking to Control.
my soul is leaving my body again because I'm gonna have to make that background.
It's gonna be okay.
Like I could make a new scene and do all the animations in the scene, but I don't know. Like I'm just gonna have to research the most effective ways to put in a cutscene. So that'll be something I do.
All right, I think that should be everything that we could talk about this time around. We have a lot of stuff to work on. Talked a lot about stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to think back over what I did because like all I'm thinking about is what I need to do still.
For me lately, it's been like blending it together. Like a while ago, I was just like, "We're gonna talk about the podcast. What did we leave off on? What
Yeah.
did I do this month?"
We're not going to talk about things before, like the stuff that we worked on with the podcast. We're just going to talk about the podcast itself. Who's watching the podcast?
I feel like in the beginning it was really easy. Be like, "Yeah, I did all this stuff this month," and now it's just like, "What did I do this month?" It's just like hard to think of. Like,
All the work is blending together.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, is that a good thing though?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it shows that we're actually getting farther along and we actually have a lot of stuff.
We've made a lot of progress.
Yeah. So I feel like it is a good thing. Good job,
It
team.
looks so good.
Yeah, there we go.
Did a bunch of fist bumps.
Again, if only we had a camera.
We don't need a camera though. I like the podcast format.
All right, But with that, I believe that we are done for talking about February 2019. I've been Jonathan Moore, the lead game designer.
Megan Slade, the lead artist and animator.
I'm Natalie Thompson, the lead programmer and graphic designer.
There we
There you
go.
go.
And we'll see you guys next month.
Bye.
Bye!